Hey guys, happy belated Labor Day for those of you who still have a job. As many of you know, the government has made some slight modifications to our current MCO that allows most of us to go back to work. Correct. Malaysia has done so well that we can probably afford to do this right now, given that we've recorded a few days with zero death, the first day being the 20th of April, which is a great 420 gift to our country, I must say. On the 2nd of May, Malaysia recorded 69 new cases, which is the second time we're recording 69 new cases, which makes me feel coronavirus is being overly humps up right now. So I promised a lot of my friends that I would do this video a lot earlier, but I procrastinated. And one of the reasons for that is I have phobia for cameras. I don't like the way cameras look. Cameras have too many circles. They look very clingy and creepy. They look like the bitch behind your back. And they have cameras like this. Look at this. Looks like an alien examining you. Hey guys, Arul here. Welcome to With Issues Comes Tissues. I know it's a beautiful name. How I came up with it, we'll talk about it someday. Well done to all the responsible citizens out there. Initially, we had the famous joggers of Mount Kiara, who I'm sure will be really happy to go back to jogging. Guys, I feel like Mount Kiara people of all people should be able to afford a treadmill. I'm sure on the 4th of May, Penang people are going to rush out of their house. Penang people, please, I know you've missed your food. I know food in Penang is tasty, but food in Penang is tasty because of old people. So please take care of the elderly in Penang, please. Man, quarantine has been an interesting experience. You're forced to have 24 hours in a day. Whether you like it or not, you have 24 hours in a day. This whole quarantine has felt like one long day with naps in between. I know what I did yesterday, 2 days ago, a week ago, 3 days. It feels like it was all today. Time feels just so weird because we have absolute freedom of time, but no freedom of space. And I feel time and space are related. So when there's no movement, there's no change of location, there's nothing to split up the timeline. So it just feels like a continuous timeline. Oh my god, and Singapore guys are getting caught for eating bak kut teh. Can you imagine during quarantine having Singapore bak kut teh? Still go out and buy some food, but not all food. Guys, anyone seen bread? I haven't seen bread this year, I think. I feel like I haven't seen bread in 2020. I miss bread, man. It's so soft, spongy. It looks like a pet. Like you never hold bread. You usually carry them very lovingly. They're like a pet you can eat. They're like an edible pet technically. I only managed to buy gardenia. I hate gardenia. Gardenia is just it's very gooey. I feel like they put glue inside. Gardenia just feels like a giant chewing gum. Can't be choosy at a time like this. I managed to get bread yesterday, and I saw 2 loaves. I wanted to buy both, but I didn't want to buy both at the same time because I would look really selfish. So I bought one first, and I hid the other one in a corner somewhere. I felt like a savage doing that. Because I'm savage. Oh, class. It was a barbaric experience. I felt like Scrat from Ice Age, stocking up food for the apocalypse. I'm now besties with a speed mart lady downstairs. Oh my god, her husband is so messed up. 1 year after marriage, the husband married his second wife already. I mean, just 1 year? I'm also Kai guy with the Mind News guy downstairs. He just had a new baby back in Nepal. But he hasn't seen his family and his wife for 2 years. Oh my god. Guys, I don't think it's his baby. Should I tell him? I don't think I want to be the one to tell him. Maybe he couriered his semen to Nepal. I don't know. Our friendship is kind of weird because we always talk from 2 meters apart because he's 1 meter behind the counter in my news. I'm 1 meter in front of the counter. So we kind of got like shout when we talk. It looks like the beginning of a fight scene in Bangsa. Hey bro, hey bro, hey what, hey bro, hey what, hey what. Those of you who don't know what Bangsa is, it's a place in Malaysia where Indians become the majority from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. daily. It's like Clang with extra 50 bucks and father's affection. Some parts of quarantine didn't really bother me though. I'm naturally super introverted, so going out doesn't really bother me so much. The first 4 weeks was second nature. The fifth week onwards, I started to feel the quarantineness already. Guys, you know social distancing still needs to go on, right? And I love social distancing. When it comes to social distancing, I'm a pro. I could get a PhD in social distancing if I could. But probably the only kind of PhD I can get. Even the word social scares me. It's not so much that I'm afraid of people, it's just there's just so many rules and people have all these feelings and you can apparently offend them easily. I had sex with my broom. I started using some dating apps. And in all dating apps, I made sure I always liked, super liked on anybody who works as a nurse or as a doctor. I feel like it's the least I can do as a service to them during this pandemic. On a serious note, even after this pandemic is over, there's still some guidelines we really have to follow. And some of these guidelines I wish would last forever, especially the part for shaking hands, washing hands, doorknobs. These are not just guidelines, I see them as common sense. I kind of want these guidelines to last forever because I'm a very OCD person. Like, I wash my hand every 20 minutes. I have phobia of doorknobs. I never touch doorknobs. I always use a tissue and open doorknobs since I was a kid. As much as possible, I avoid shaking hands. Guys, why are we shaking hands? Like, why are we holding strangers' hands and feeling their hand? Like, why is this a necessary activity? Is it necessary for us to go second base with every stranger we meet? It's not really second base, it's more like 1.5 base. In my hand, I keep my hands so clean. Look at my hand. If it's someone you know or someone you like, then okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, for me, it's cool with somebody I know or someone I like, because I've seen so many people with dirty hands. Okay, yes, I gotta confess, I'm a germaphobe. You know the scene in Aviator where DiCaprio is washing his hands so many times that he starts bleeding? That's basically my childhood. I never thought I'd confess this out loud because people might think I'm a weirdo. But now all of a sudden, my weirdness is what everyone is forced to do. Wow. Also, my weirdness has now become so mainstream. I don't feel like it's hipster anymore. Especially don't trust dudes when it comes to handshakes. As a guy, I've seen so many men pee and just leave the toilet immediately without washing their hands. They just go. A lot of my friends call me a chick for being so clean. A lot of girls think I'm gay because I'm clean. Why? Because straight men are dirty. So because all straight men are dirty, other straight men can't be clean. I especially hate shaking hands with those guys who. Have you met guys when you shake hands with them, they squeeze your hand like as tight as possible because someone told them that shows confidence? Okay, I'm done talking about handshakes. As a Malaysian, food is what I live for. I'm such a foodie. I'm happy that Malaysia is flattening its curve, but my curves are completely unflattening. The Chinese food I miss most is curry mee. Guys, let me just talk about curry mee, okay? Curry mee is a very special dish. Let me explain why. It's a Chinese dish that is in curry that tastes a bit Indian, and it has sambal belacan that tastes very Malay. It's a one Malaysia dish. You eat here and it's so spicy and you sweat all your sins out and you feel your soul is just getting purified. And after the curry mee, you have a nice hot tasty. I've actually become more vegetarian this year because I love animals and I started having all this guilt about killing animals and all that. Curry mee is one of those dishes that vegetarian is not bad. But this MCO has really brought out my carnivorous side. I've had strange dreams, guys. I've had dreams where I'm in a farm and I am biting and attacking live animals. There was one dream where I can clearly remember I bit a goat's ass. Farm animals in Malay is called haiwan ternakan. And I feel haiwan ternakan is a much better word than farm animal. Ternakan just feels very raised. Farm sounds very big and irresponsible and messy. Ternakan sounds fun and self-sufficient. It feels like the animals are raising each other, but the older generation brings up the new one. I've been sleeping a lot, guys. I've been sleeping a lot. This sleeping is the only way I can travel. Like, I can't go anywhere. At least if I sleep and in my dreams, I can go to so many places. Music festivals in my dream, but the music festivals had weird details. All in all, what we Malaysians have to deal with during this MCO, it's not really that big a deal. Compared to what our previous generations had to go through, we're basically playing at beginner's level. My grandparents' era was a complete different dimension. I'm a huge fan of history, so I always like to know what we've been through as people and where we're going as a civilization. And I enjoy talking to a lot of elderly people to kind of find out and ask them about their life and what they've been through. But I always make sure I filter out some of the stories because there's always this uncle or this grand uncle who has to exaggerate the heck out of the stories. It's always something like, no, cycling at the time the Japanese were attacking, and then a bomb flew in front of me. Luckily, I just turned, the bomb missed, and then I jumped into a drain. Luckily, the safe. I always try to spend as much time as I can with my granddad. He's kind of the only grandparent I have left. My grandpa is a historian, so it's very convenient. My grandpa had three siblings, but by the time he was 10, he was the only child. As a little kid, I asked my grandpa, Tata, don't you have any siblings? You know what he told me? He told me one of his siblings died from fever, one died during war, and one more, while playing catching, fell into a well. He just told me that so casually. I was a little kid, man. I didn't grow up like him. He told me a story, I just passed out. I was like, huh? What? That was too much for me to comprehend for my age. Even when my sister has a paper cut, I'm acting like an overly emotional auntie. So our generation is pretty pampered and blessed, if you ask me. Unless you bring up our current cost of living and property prices, which makes me very, very, very angry. But let's talk about that some other time. It's clear why that we all have to get back to work because the impact on the economy that this pandemic had was severe. And there's a constant trade-off between the economy and the health of our citizens. There's a tough choice to make for any leader of any country. I mean, end of the day, the economy will recover, but the lives lost will never. And we Malaysia, we've come so far already. We've done so well already. We just gotta push a little bit more, and we're gonna get there, guys. Even after the 4th of May, let's all still maintain these guidelines as much as we can. With that, I want to thank the true warriors of this pandemic, our great frontliners. We all owe them an unimaginable debt.